Hi, I'm Greg Ward, founder, CEO, and lawyer at the car accident personal injury firm, the Ward Law Group. I want to talk to you today about AI, especially AI for productivity and team efficiency. You know, my wife and I started our firm 15 years ago with just a fold-out table and a laptop computer, and we've grown up to a couple hundred team members around the world. And what I can tell you is, this thing with AI has the potential to scale our businesses to a completely new level, but it affects the management as much as it affects other team members. And I want to give you some insights into how to use AI to improve the productivity and efficiency of your teams, because I think that's going to be the biggest impact of AI if used properly. I think we're really in a pivotal moment for the legal profession. Just like the printing press really opened up access to knowledge, and the internet opened access to knowledge, transformed communication, artificial intelligence is reshaping how organizations like ours operate. It's not about replacing lawyers or paralegals or staff. It's about removing inefficiency and amplifying human expertise, serving clients with greater excellence and efficiency. So today I want to show you how AI can unlock some of this productivity in a professional service company, particularly a personal injury law firm, but it could also apply to a medical practice, an architecture firm, accounting firm, really any service-based business. So what are some of the challenges that we face in a professional service business? Well, we face mounting pressure. Clients expect faster responses and more transparency. And we see this happens with professional service companies, but it's driven by Amazon and Netflix and other organizations which are extremely consumer responsive. People get an immediacy hit when they order something on Amazon. It's coming tomorrow. And so if you're going to take 2 or 3 days to respond to your clients, you're already going to be behind the curve. Unfortunately, in our business, things are complex. You can't just give an immediate response. Case complexity is growing with lots of data and endless discovery and all kinds of filings. And so our job is getting more complicated while the client expectations are getting higher and higher. Staff spends too much time on repetitive, low-value tasks. The only way to deal with what a client expectation is to have your high-value thinkers thinking and doing at a very high level. Profitability, of course, depends on efficiency as well, but inefficiency still predominates the landscape. So we have two options, right? We can cling to our manual processes and risk drowning, or we can adopt tools that multiply our capacity. AI, I think, is the tool that's given us that leverage, at least in the best way I've seen in the last 20 years. So what does AI bring to the table? Let's get practical for a second. AI at its core leverages techniques like machine learning and deep learning and large language models to recognize patterns, make predictions, and generate outputs. In a law firm, that really translates into a few major opportunities: document drafting and review. Now, in my firm for personal injury, we don't do a lot of document drafting. We don't do a lot of review, but we do things like deposition outlines and other things along those lines. But in big law firms, generative AI, powered by large language models, can create first drafts of demand letters or motions, discovery responses. Attorneys must be in the loop. Attorneys must be checking everything, but hours can become minutes for the first draft. Legal research. Now, I'm going to warn you about legal research because this is an area, a pet peeve of mine. Everybody hears about legal research being complete trash in the legal landscape. Legal research tools like Lexis and Westlaw have good legal research tools, but ChatGPT and other AI tools, they're not great with legal research. But natural language processing allows us to query cases in plain English, receive precise summaries if you're using the right legal tools for that. Now, I can tell you I just basically tested ChatGPT. I'm a big AI fan, but I've tested legal research that's not Lexis or Westlaw based, and I can tell you it was garbage. So you must always have a human in the loop and do not rely on ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or any of those places to bring you your first round legal research. Case management automation. AI can track deadlines, assign tasks, deploy AI agents, and monitor workflows, and send alerts when something is overdue. Now, I can tell you in my practice, I've used some of the tools that are out there that aren't quite market ready, but I expect this is going to be a big breakthrough in the next 6 months to a year. So keep your eye out, but test products too. Don't just go in and buy new products thinking they're going to deliver what they say they're going to deliver. There's always a lag, particularly with the big AI products in personal injury and in the legal space. AI is not quite where it needs to be, but this is going to be something. The case management automation is going to be a big breakthrough in the next year or two. Insights and forecasting. By using neural networks, AI systems can detect trends in litigation, helping predict case durations or settlement ranges more accurately. So this is basically taking a data set and putting it in either from your CRM, your case management software, or just from your basic data points. So this is something where I like to use AI. We kind of summarize information, we look for data trends, and basically Excel spreadsheets or reports, we dump them into ChatGPT and say, tell me what you know about this. Now, by the way, a footnote here, we use ChatGPT Enterprise, which is HIPAA and SOC 2 compliant. So that keeps us protected at the highest level of protection from any data leaks. I saw Grok the other day had a big leak of 300,000 prompts. I want to make sure that the AI I'm using is guaranteeing that they are compliant with the highest levels of data security, and ChatGPT Enterprise offers us that assurance. So make sure you're using the proper version that is HIPAA and SOC 2 compliant if you're in a personal injury or a medical practice, personal injury law firm or medical practice. Client communication is a big one. AI, ChatGPT can help refine your client communications. You can load in scripts. You can do coaching with team members on how to handle calls. You can give feedback. You can analyze why a customer's upset. You can train with various scripts on how to handle things like deposition prep and other negotiations even. You can have all kinds of scripts that are programmed in, and chat can give you feedback on various conversations. You can get meeting transcripts summarized. You can get phone calls summarized and sent automatically. We can have clarity for our clients. So we summarize the calls and then with using some sort of AI bot and send it to the client as a memo of what was discussed in the client call. So this impact in productivity is pretty significant. Let's talk about time savings. Research shows that AI-assisted drafting can save 20 to 40% of professional time. Across a law firm, that translates into hundreds of hours. Now, 20 to 40%, I can tell you that it saved me probably more than 20 to 40% when I draft documents, because I will give very detailed prompts and let AI take the first draft, and then I'll begin to edit it myself. But that first draft often takes the longest period of time. It takes me, could be an hour per 2 or 3 pages, and I can get a 10-page memo from chat after I've done the prompt in 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes to do the prompt and 10 minutes to get the output, and then I can start editing it. And if I need to go back to the beginning and provide clear instructions to chat, I can do that as well. Faster client service. Clients don't have to wait weeks for demand packages or updates. Gen AI systems can accelerate turnaround, and that strengthens trust with the clients and also will hopefully encourage them to send us referrals, because they know they're going to have accountable and responsive communication with their law firm. I think one of the big things about AI is it reduces burnout. You know, one of the biggest challenges in the work we do is these really mundane, repetitive tasks. Contacting people over and over again, repetitive document sorting, categorization. AI can take care of all of that. And the more you train it, the better it gets. And so begin training now so that it can be market ready in 6 months to a year, and you can see your people will be much happier not doing the really mundane, repetitive, obnoxious legal work and getting into the really brain power oriented tasks, not just the repetitive mechanical stuff. Cost control. AI can allow us to scale without adding staff in a linear way. So let's say, back in the olden days when you doubled your case count, you'd have to double your staff. Actually, you'd have to more than double your staff, to be honest, because there is an increased inefficiency that happens when you add additional staff. With AI, you can scale and handle more of the mundane tasks while getting your amazing staff to handle the more complicated tasks. So you can scale in a way that's not allowing overhead to run away. Productivity is no longer about doing more with less. It's about doing smarter with leverage. One of the things I always say to my people, we've got to do more with less. The very definition of scaling an organization is being able to do more with less. Hopefully systems and processes make it easier to function. But many times, as you know, if you've gotten big as a company, when you scale, things slow down. But AI is something that allows us to leverage our current workflows, our current activities in a way that allows us to improve efficiency. So AI can transform collaboration and cohesion, right? Transparency, AI-powered dashboards can show who owns each task, preventing confusion. One of the things I do in my meetings transcripts, if I summarize a meeting with AI, I say, tell me who will do what by when. So I get an output of what tasks I can follow up on with various people who are in the meeting to see what their job is if they've completed their job. Consistency. Large language models help standardize language across filings, and it gives uniformity to things. So you always know you're getting the same kind of output. It allows us to focus in, really dial in on what works and replicate that across all the cases and across the entire company or organization. Collaboration. AI allows us to use really search our data for notes or prior briefs, reducing duplication. We have a better search terms. In fact, AI is baked into many of the search terms that are available now on Finder and other of our server search terms. Training. Generative AI can help train people. This is something we're just starting to scratch the surface of. We can have generative AI do scripts and training and quizzes and other things that will give people real-time feedback on where they're lagging based on the information that you provided. The result of all of this is not just faster work, but smoother teamwork with fewer drop balls and stronger accountability. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Will AI take away all of our jobs? The answer is no. AI cannot advocate in court. It cannot negotiate with intuition. It cannot console a grieving client. It can't replace human judgment. It can't replace empathy. It can't replace ethics. We always will need a human in the loop. But what it does do is to handle 30 to 40% of the tasks that nobody went to law school to do. No one became an attorney to spend hours copying text or digging through PDFs or formatting citations. Here's the truth. Firms that adopt AI will grow, and growth creates opportunities. Roles will evolve, but people will always remain indispensable. So what should we do? I suggest if you're starting to use AI in your firm to identify repetitive tasks in your daily work, drafting, research, follow-ups, those are the first and easiest low-hanging fruit for AI to help with. Experiment with tools, try generative AI, test NLP search, deploy small AI agents. The way I've done it in my firm is I've rolled out AI across work groups. We haven't even given it to the attorneys and paralegals yet. We've started with very basic functions, and we've rolled out ChatGPT Enterprise, which is confidential, HIPAA, SOC 2 compliant. We've rolled that out, and we have an AI ethics pledge. We have confidentiality pledges. We make sure that everyone uses it responsibly and they know the pitfalls of not using it responsibly. So we're beginning to roll out the AI throughout the entire organization, slowly but surely, but I want to get adoption and usage more than I want to get speed, because I think if we invest time in getting people on board with it, it's going to be a more smooth transition as we add on additional AI tools later. And remember the mission. This isn't about becoming robotic. It's about serving clients better by freeing ourselves from inefficiency. So AI is not about machines. It's about stewardship. It's about wisely multiplying our time, our talent, and our impact. So if we embrace these tools, we will not only be more productive, but also more human, more focused on judgment, more focused on advocacy, more focused on service. That is the future of our law firms. It's not to be outdone by robots. It's to be assisted by tools that help us do what we do best as human beings. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this speech. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on LinkedIn. If you want more useful AI content, DM me, ask me your biggest questions and what we're doing. I'll be happy to share. Hope you found this helpful.